तंत्रे, कुंभंग मयूम और संजीत सिंह, अली मोहम्मद वजा, नूरुल अमीन दाका, फयाज अहमद नाइकू, मुबीना अख्तर, मोहम्मद अमीन गनाई, शब्बीर अहमद दार, बिलाल अहमद नजर, चोंगथाम उमाकांता, मोहम्मद सुभान लोन, सज्जाद अहमद पंडित, उमर सुलेमान शेख, इलंगबाम किरणजीत सिंह, गुलाम नबी मीर।
Those names that were read out by Amin are names of victims from both Kashmir and Manipur. We will now have a panel discussion examining extrajudicial killings and AFSPA in Manipur and other states in India. We invite on stage the moderator, Urvashi Butalia, and our speakers will be Mukul Sinha, Advocate, Gujarat High Court, Satyabrata Pal, Member, National Human Rights Commission, Colin Gonsalves, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court of India.
Friends, good afternoon. Welcome to this very important and very somber meeting. We've seen some really moving performances and some moving readings from Iram Sharmila's work. We now have a panel discussion which will be discussing, where we have three panelists who will look at the Armed Forces Special Powers Act in the specific context of the writ petition filed by IFAM and the Santosh Hegde report that was commissioned by the Supreme Court and that was submitted. The report is, Colin Gonsalves, who's one of our panelists, will tell you more about it. But it is a fascinating and really interesting document which reveals how easily it is possible to fabricate false, within quotes, evidence, but also how easy it is, given the will and the support, to poke holes in that and to tear it apart. It also points to, it has some very specific recommendations on the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, its implementation, its removal, its taking away, it's the harm that it does. It points to the difficulty that families have in filing cases, and reveals a whole range of things in which innocent people are caught up just as victims to add to the numbers. And it shows the complete arbitrariness, irrationality, and the ways in which power can be used totally, I don't know the word for it, irrationally, if you like. And it's really very, very important that this petition was filed and that we got the Santosh Hegde committee and it submitted its report, because it also then shows that when you have a committee that is committed to taking its task seriously and it submits a good report, it can actually make a difference, as this particular document seems to have done. So without further ado, we'll turn to our panelists and we'll start the discussion with Colin Gonsalves, who is known to many of you here. He's a senior advocate, human rights lawyer. He's with the Human Rights Law Network. And it is Colin whose efforts largely were instrumental in persuading the families to actually take up the cases and in persuading them to believe that the Supreme Court of India was not only a place for people with deep pockets, but was also a place where the most marginalized, the poorest people who were far away from it could actually fight to claim their constitutional rights. So Colin will speak for a short while and then we'll turn to the other panelists. Colin?
Let me say that none of this would have been possible were it not for the report made by this network of the families of the persons who were killed and disappeared in Manipur. The NGOs that supported them, and I particularly want to mention Mr. Bablu, who's present here in the audience today and will speak a little later. Many things have been said about Manipur. Many meetings held. Many films made. And yet we had no hope really that any institution or the judiciary would take up the case of the people of Manipur. And the reason why we say this is because these killings have been going on for decades. The killings in Kashmir have been going on for decades. Other parts of the country. And the judiciary has, for some reason, being unable or unwilling to take the state to task for the killings that take place so frequently. We were pleasantly surprised when the Supreme Court ordered a commission of inquiry. We were even more pleasantly surprised when we heard about the constitution of the committee, Justice Hegde and the other members. And the report was a stunning report. The case is there on Tuesday. I just want to, in the short time that I have, give you a flavor of what terror, the terror of the state as terrorist, the terror of the state. I want to give you a flavor of that in the cross-examination that I did of one person in the present case and the cross-examination in Manorma's case. In 2 minutes or 3 minutes, I'll give you a flavor of that cross-examination to show you what kind of country it is we live in. Most cases are, I say, state denies. I say it again, state denies it again. And the judge says it's very difficult for me to make out. I've got post-mortem reports, I've got, inquiry reports. Everything says the state is innocent, I can't believe you. But this time we got access to cross-examination of the army officers in the present case. And I'll tell you the cross-examination of a major that I did in Bombay. Mukul did 90% of the cross-examination, so he demolished them in case after case. But I want to give you this flavor of this case. He was a major in the army. He said he was standing at the barricade on a road and 2 of the terrorists were coming towards him. He said, "Stop, stop." And he was in a group of about 15 or 20 persons, heavily armed with AK-47s and so on. "Stop, stop." They continued walking towards him. He said, "Stop." And one of them took out a pistol, started firing. The other person took out a pistol. And in that exchange, one person died, the other ran away. And next to the body, they found a 9mm pistol. Standard form. In all cases, one person runs away. I won't go into the details as to why they do that. And a 9mm pistol is found. So this man is sitting on the... And that the person killed was a dreaded terrorist from a particular organization. He'll give you that name. So we start the cross-examination. Major Saab, he was a dreaded terrorist, according to you? Yes, sir. And you're sure about that? Yes, sir. You know his name and you checked and you're sure about the fact that he was the dreaded terrorist? Yes, sir. You checked it against a list of dreaded terrorists? No, sir. You have a list? Yes, sir. The army has a list? Yes, sir. Have you seen that list? No, sir. Have any of your army colleagues seen that list? No, sir. So you don't know if his name is on that list of dreaded terrorists? No, sir, but I know he's a terrorist. Tell us why? Because, sir, he came from that direction. And that's a village, sir. Village, he gives the name. Okay, and so? So in that village, there are many terrorists. I see. So you killed him because he was coming from a particular village where you believe there are many terrorists. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Do you feel ashamed of what you've done? No, sir. If it happens again, will you do it again? Yes, sir. And why? Because I believe, sir, he was a terrorist. And that was case one. And that's what made the judges of the commission really think, what on earth is happening? Are these guys really terrorists? Or is the guy standing in the witness box, that major, is he the real terrorist? Now I'll give you Manorama's cross-examination. What happened, sir? Officer of the Assam Rifles, who was present on the spot. What happened, sir? Manorama, just to give you a background, young lady, unmarried, I think, unmarried, no criminal background, taken from her house at 4 o'clock in the night, or middle of the night, ultimately killed. What happened, sir? She was in your custody. What happened? She said, sir, she wanted to urinate, and so we got out of our jeep. And then she squatted, and she made a pretense of urinating. And then she ran, sir. What time was it? 4:30 in the morning. Was anybody around? No, sir. Was the area an open area? Yes, sir, an open field. How many Jawans were you of the Assam Rifles? 17, sir. 17. This young girl runs and 17 Jawans. Did you make any attempt to catch her? No, sir. What did you do? We said, stop, stop. I see. And it was an open field, so you could chase her and catch her? Yes, sir. And then after you said, stop, stop, she didn't stop. And so we opened fire. You shot her in the back, that's right? That's right, sir. We shot her in the back. And then she fell, and then she fell. So if she was running away from you and you shot her in the back, how did she get bullet injuries on her chest and vagina? Maybe she turned, sir. Maybe she turned. So that was the testimony of the officers in Manorama's case. And 4:30 in the morning, an old lady from the village came out actually also to urinate. And she saw the police officers carrying a limp body from a vehicle, take it down, keep it on the field. And she saw them, she heard gunshot wounds. And then she came closer, she found them turn the body and they heard gunshot wounds again. And this is the evidence in Manorama's case. And the forensic lab found semen stains on her petticoat and so on. And the commission of inquiry appointed by Manipur government, a retired judge, gave the report in a sealed cover some 7, 8, 9 years ago. When we went to the High Court asked the Home Minister, then Chidambaram, open that report for God's sake. Open that report and read what it says, and if it says that your officers are guilty, take action. And that matter is pending in the Supreme Court now for years, 3 or 4 years. So that is the story of Manipur, my dear friends. That's all that I want to say. It's a situation of grave terror. And I don't really know whether there's any solution in sight and so on. We are hopeful about the case now in the Supreme Court. But the terror of the forces, the terrorism of our forces,